UFC Noche the Sphere is going to be taking place this weekend. I'm going to be breaking down every single fight on this card, giving my predictions from the very first fight to the very last fight. And I'm looking forward to this card, even though it is a very underwhelming card. What a fucking once in a lifetime, as Dana White said, experience this will going to be with all these movies and films and fucking lights, but shit fucking fights. Let's get into the first one. Raul Rosas Jr., the golden boy, is going to be taking on Oru Chueleng, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Raul Rosas Jr. kind of got famous within this sport. I believe he was the youngest fighter in UFC history. He came to Contender Series. He fought Christian Rodriguez and lost maybe a year ago. And his hype really kind of derailed from then. But he started to pick it up. He's coming off a good win. Well, first off the bat, I'm going Raul Rosas Jr. in this matchup. I think he's going to finish him in the first round. I just think he's got very good, for his age, very good jiu-jitsu. But he kind of... Christian Rodriguez is a good fighter, but he does miss weight a lot, which gives him an advantage against people. But still, he beat, Raul Rosas Jr. He weathered the storm early. And I feel like that's a massive learning curve for Raul Rosas, not to blow everything in the first round, save some energy for them later rounds. If the opportunity is there to finish it in the first, go for it, but don't give everything you have. Because if you give everything you have in that first round, you're completely fucked, and which he was in that second and third. Still have questions about his striking, but he's got good jiu-jitsu. Chueleng, he's got some decent wins. He's coming off a win last year against Johnny Munoz Jr., I think his name was, but he hasn't really fought anyone that good. He lost to Cody Durden in a decision. He is dangerous. He has got some finishes in the UFC. I think he's 3-3 or something like that, but I just think Raul Rosas Jr. is going to... I just feel like no way they're going to put him in a matchup where they think they're going to lose, especially on this kind of a card. Especially on this kind of a card, Mexican Independence Day, I think they're going to be pushing him big on this card, so that's why I think he's going to get this one done. Plus, I just think he's way younger, fresher, and I think he's going to be more hungry to get this win. Next one, Joshua Van taking this fight on short notice against Edgar Shizadz. I'm going to go with Joshua Van on this one. Joshua Van, he is coming off a finish to Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson's a good fighter. I think Joshua Van's still very good. Is this short notice? The bookies have him as a 2-1 favourite as well. I think your money's safe with him. I think Joshua Van will get this one by probably I feel like maybe a second round finish or even a decision. Edgar really hasn't got anything behind his record too much. He lost in the Contender Series. He's coming off a good win, in fairness, triangle choke. But still, I'm going to need someone a little bit better to beat Joshua Van. I just think Van's a little bit too more dangerous, probably a bit too more skillful for him, even on short notice. He's been semi-active as well. So he's got a bit of experience in the UFC. He's got wins in the UFC as well, do you know what I mean? He's been in the UFC about a year, probably a year now. And I just think he'll get this one done. I'm going to go with a decision on this one. Next fight. Yasmin Uregri versus Keithlin Susie. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Bookies have this one a massive favourite for Yasmin. She's 11-1. She's kind of she's got some wins in the UFCs as well. She's got a loss as well though, but I don't really think that she's beaten Nunes as well. I think Amanda Nunes' wife, if I believe. She was undefeated there for a while. I just think she's a more technical fighter. I think she's going to be better pretty much everywhere in this fight. She can finish fights as well. She's got a lot of first round KOs on her record. She's got one first round finish, or second round finish, within the UFC. She's got some decisions as well, but I feel like she's going to be able to get this one to one. Way more technical fighter. I think she's kind of decent everywhere. Keitlin's coming off a good win. She has lost in the UFC as well though. But I just think she's more technical. I think she's going to be able to pace herself in this one and then go kind of take over in the later rounds. But I wouldn't be surprised if she gets this one done early. She's kind of a good version of Amanda Nunes' wife, I kind of felt. So yeah, I'll go with her in this one. I'm gonna go with a first round KO. Fuck it. I'm gonna go with that. Next fight. Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bamajondes. I believe that's how you say his name. Torres on this one. Bookies have this one very, very close, but I'm going with Torres on this one. This dude's just fucking knocking everyone out in the first round and finishing people in the first round. He beat Duncan via rear naked choke in the first round, I believe it was. He's on a 7-fight first round finish streak, which is fucking insane. He doesn't have the most entertaining style. It does look a bit shit sometimes, but he does have technically good skills. And Ignacio, bit of a decision merchant. He's coming off a first round finish, but he's still got a lot of decisions on his record. I just don't think he's beaten anyone that's able to fight like Torres, who's caught that kind of like near awkward but like kind of style. I think he's going to be able to do very well with the kicks and kind of getting into range, and he's going to be able to get into Ignacio's face, and I think he's going to be able to even knock him down and submit him in the first round. I could see him knocking him down with like a hook and then getting him in with like a crazy choke or something like that, like a guillotine or a rear naked choke. That's going to be my prediction. I'm going to go with a first round submission for Torres on that one. Aldana versus Norma Dumont. I'm going to go with Irene Aldana on this one. I think Norma Dumont is a bit of a decision merchant. I think O'Donnell's got more experience as well. She's fought Amanda Nunes. Like, she's got championship experience. And she's got 5-round experience as well, like in the main event, pay-per-view, stuff like that. She's fought a lot of good people. Like, she beat Sandos as well. She fought Holly Holm. She lost, whatever. But she's got a lot more power, I feel. I think she's going to be able to pick her shots a lot better. And I just think she's going to be a little bit too much for her on the feet as well. Dumont was a featherweight as well. Now she's cutting down to bantamweight. That's never going to really help. Going down a weight class really helps, especially fighting someone with this kind of level of power, with experience as well. She's clearly one of the top fighters in this division, having fought Amanda Nunes. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Irene Aldana. I'm gonna go with a nice 29-28. I feel like she'll knock her down in the second round as well and be able to just pick the rounds up, and then that's gonna get her to win. Next one, onto the main card. Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. Somehow this has fluked its way onto the Sphere card, never mind the main card. But I'm going Ronaldo Rodriguez in this one. I think he's going to finish Ode Osborne in the first round. Ode Osborne he's a decent fighter, but like he's never really got picked up any massive win. And Ronaldo Rodriguez has had so many wins on his record. He has only got one fight in the UFC, which was a second round rear naked choke. But I still think he's going to be able to get this one done. Ode Osborne's successful to that finish. Rodriguez is very quick. You know what I mean? He's very young as well, but he's got so many finishes on his record, man. And I know these are out of like some fucking bum-ass league that no one knows about. But he's got one fight in the UFC, and he finished Dennis Bonder, I think his name was. I can't remember the guy's name, but picked up a finish there. He's got so many wins. I know the Osborne's just been finished way too much for me to pick him in this fight. If you are looking to bet on this fight, Ronaldo Rodriguez KO/submission. Bookies have this one down to the wire nearly as well. How the fuck this guy, these two bums, not bums, but like these two fighters are on the fucking main card of his Sphere blows my fucking mind. But I'm going Ronaldo Rodriguez on this one. I think he's going to finish him in the second round. I can see him doing very well on the feet. Ode Osborne isn't the fastest flyweight. I think Rodriguez is going to be a bit too quick for him. I think he's going to be able to land his combinations a little bit more speed. He's got a fan base as well, Rodriguez. I think he does TikTok or YouTube or some shit like that. So I think he's going to be able to pick his shots. And I'm going to go with a left hook. I'm going to go with a left hook finish in the second round. I just think Osborne, he just gets hit, finished way too often. He's chinny. And he's just susceptible to it. And Rodriguez is a finishing machine. So I think there's only going to be one winner in that fight. And yeah, I mean, I would say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not. This would have been a good fight on a fucking fight night card in the Apex. Good main card opener. Very, very good main card opener over Apex card. Not the Sphere. Okay, no one gives a fuck if Ronaldo Rodriguez is Mexican. No one gives a fuck if it's Mexican Independence Day. We want the Sphere card to be the best possible. Okay, we don't want it to be a Mexican Independence Day card. No one gives a fuck. But yeah, next one. Cuba versus Ribovic. I'm going to go with Ribovic on this one, to be quite honest with you. He's coming off that first round KO of Terence McKinney. He's been in the UFC about 2 years now. He's coming off Contender Series. Both these guys are coming off the Contender Series. Not coming off them, but that's where they came from. But he has had one loss. He fought in the John Jones versus Cyril Gane card. He's got 2 decent wins in the UFC. But I just think he's a bit too fucking dangerous. Like, this dude's a fucking finishing machine. Both these fighters both have only 1 losses on the record. But I genuinely think Ribovic going to be too much for him on the feet. I think he's going to be a bit too quick. Daniel goes to decisions the odd time. Now, he has got a lot more experience in the UFC. He's been in the UFC for fucking years now. Like, he's got decent wins. Francisco Prado is a good win. But apart from that, there's nothing really stands out between these two fighters. Like, this is another prelim fight on a fucking fight night card of like a Burns versus Brady. Like, you put this on the prelims, but for some reason it's nearly at the top of the Sphere card. I don't know why, but anyway, I'm gonna go Ribovic on this one. I think he's gonna chin him in the second round. I think he's been able to find that shot. He's got very good kicks as well. Of course, he kicked Terence Kitty's fucking head in the first round, the last fight. He can also do a bit of ground and pound finish as well. I like that as well. But yeah, finishing machine. This guy, finishing fucking machine. He's only gone to decision twice. He's lost one of them, and I trust him to get this one done. I think he's defensively a little bit better. I think Daniel Zabreda can be hit, and I think he's going to be fucking. I just don't think he has the power to really hit Ribovic. Sorry, with the big shots he needs to get this one on. I think Ribovic's going to be a bit too much on the feet for him. I think he's going to be too quick for him. I think he's going to be able to land things like his hook and his uppercut, stick to the jab, and just demolish the leg. And I think he's going to get this one done. Surprise him with the high kicks as well. You know, if you keep chopping the leg and he keeps lifting his leg up, that's when you go high. That's what I think is going to. I could easily see him hitting him with a head kick in the second and kind of ground and pound him as a finish. Ref steps in, boom. So I'm going to go with that as my prediction. Next fight on the card. Now we're getting into the real kind of meat and fucking bones of this card. Brian Ortega. Finally, we're getting into a decent fight. Okay, a decent fight. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. This fight was originally booked on the Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska 2 card. Ortega pulled out with like 4 hours to go, which is fucking insane. It was short notice, and I think this is the right matchup to make, considering that he did pull out. I'm going Brian Ortega on this one, man. I'm going by Brian Ortega. Dan Ige took a round off Diego Lopez on like 4 hours notice. 4 hours notice. I said it before, Diego Lopez has this thing where he goes guns blazing in the first round. But if you can fucking weather that storm, I think this guy gasses out. And we know Brian Ortega is near impossible to finish. This dude doesn't stop. He's a fucking zombie. He finished Jair Rodriguez in his last fight. Lopez beat fucking Danny Ige in his last fight. Wasn't the greatest performance ever, actually. Ige took a round off him, like I said, on 4 hours notice, which is insane. But I just think Ortega is going to be a bit too good. I can't see Ortega getting finished though in this fight. It's not as if this is one-way traffic. It's a 50-50 fight. Diego Lopez definitely has the potential to go in there and finish him, because Yair Rodriguez had that potential to finish Brian Ortega in the first round, but he really just didn't step on the gas pedal. And we know Diego Lopez doesn't take his foot off the gas pedal, which, you know, could be his biggest weakness in this fight, or in his career, to be honest with you, because I think he does have a gas tank issue. I think that's going to show, maybe not in this fight, but in later fights. Ortega, he's been at the top of the division for fucking years, even though he doesn't fight. He's still been in there with the best. Now, he has lost, but he has got some wins as well. Like, he knocked out Frank Yeager in the first round on short notice when Frank Yeager was fighting Max Holloway. You know, that's an underrated win. He submitted Cub Swanson back in the day, which was a good win. I believe he beat Renato Moicano. I could be wrong there, but I believe he beat Renato Moicano. Still could be wrong. You know, he didn't really have a competitive fight with Max Holloway, but he definitely had moments in the striking. He submitted Yair Rodriguez, came the closest to finishing Volkanovski. Like, the dude is dangerous. This is a dangerous matchup for both of them. I could see either of these guys getting a finish here, to be honest with you, but I trust in Ortega to stay alive during the early storm and not get finished. And I think he's going to be able to finish Diego Lopez later on with like a submission or something like that. Lopez is so active in that first round. Way too active. It works. It's flashy when it works. But that Danny Ige fight, I said it in the build-up, or I said it after one of the fights, his biggest weakness is going to be his gas tank. Now, these both have had way more time to prepare. Maybe the Diego Lopez thing was on short notice and he didn't have a lot of time to prepare his cardio and everything. And Ortega, of course, that's the reason he couldn't make the weight, because it was short notice. But I still trust in Brian Ortega to get this one done. As bad as he looked against Jair Rodriguez, he fucking finished the dude, which is a very hard thing to do. So I'm going with Ortega, and I'm going to Ortega second round sub. I think he's going to get this one done, man. And I hope Ortega gets this one done, because I think Ortega is a big name, you know, within featherweight. It's good to have him on winning terms, in my opinion. And yeah, I just think Ortega was rushed way too early. Had such potential, needs to fight more often, gets injured, loses, takes damage in wars. But I think he'll get this one on. I think he's still got way more experience than Diego Lopez as well. That's one thing people aren't talking about. Ortega's experience is as good as they come. Like, he's had championship rounds. He's gone 5 rounds with Volkanovski, 4 rounds with Max Holloway. So beat Yair Rodriguez, beat Frank Edgar when he was at the top. This all is going to play in a factor. And, Diego Lopez doesn't have experience. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have experience. He had a good showcase against Movsar Evloev. I don't really rate Movsar too highly. I think Sterling's going to beat him, but it's still a good performance. Obviously, you have to give it to him, but yeah, I'm going to take a second round sub on this one. Next, Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. I think on this one, to be quite honest with you, I think she's going to pick up where she started or where she left off in that second fight. I think she won that second fight. Probably the weakest 10-8 in UFC history to Grasso. Who the fuck gave that a 10-8? It was a close enough round. Anyway, I go with Shevchenko on this one. She isn't like a bit of an old. She is kind of old now, and she's getting up there for sure. But I think she's just going to be. I think she's just going to do too much on the feet. I think she's going to get this one done, to be quite honest with you. Grasso does have the submission threat. Obviously, she submitted her in the first fight. But I think, honestly, Steve Shevchenko was just kind of slouching a little bit, to be honest. I think she's going to be able to get this one done. She's just so much better on the feet, I think. And I feel like she's had this whole... it's been a year since they last fought. They've been fucking scheduled to book each other nearly 2 years now. I think Shevchenko has just been hammering her wrestling and submission threat, submission defense, stuff like that, to ensure that doesn't happen again. And we saw it in the second fight. I thought Shevchenko won. Most people did. That was one of the biggest fucking robberies in UFC history. Not the actual fight, but the scorecard itself, as it regards the 10-8, made it one of the biggest robberies in UFC history, in my opinion. And I think Shevchenko is just going to pick up where she left off. Grasso celebrated a draw, which pissed me off. I'm like, I hope Shevchenko fucking knocks her out, because how can you celebrate a draw? How? Just because you didn't lose doesn't mean you didn't win. You should be only happy with a fucking win. You got home with your belt, but you didn't win. Fuck that. Like, I'd give him the belt back. So I'm hoping Shevchenko wins this one done. I do think she's the better fighter. She is a little bit older now, which is probably the only reason Grasso has a chance, because I don't think she has the skill set overall compared to Shevchenko. Obviously, she's a better grappler. But striking-wise, I think Shevchenko's just way better. I'm going to go with a decision, though. I don't really see Shevchenko finishing her, to be quite honest with you. I think if anyone's getting finished, it is Shevchenko. And we've seen that in previous fights when Grasso did finish her. But I think she's going to be a bit more aware. She's not going to take her lightly. You know what I mean? She's had so much time in the cage with her. I think she's kind of going to figure her out, and she's going to pick up where she left off. Way better striker. And I think she's just going to be able to keep it at range. You know what I mean? Like, I could see her dropping her maybe. I feel like Grasso will have her moments, of course, but I just don't think she's better. She did finish her in the first fight, fair enough. I think Shevchenko was kind of slouching. And then in the second fight, I thought Shevchenko clearly won. Close fight and all, but I think there was only one winner. I say close but clear. And yeah, I just think Shevchenko's going to pick up, and I think she's going to get I'm going to go with a 49-46. Couple of close rounds, but I think it's going to be quite a boring fight as well. She just picks her apart at range. But yeah, main event. I've made a few videos on the main event now. My prediction hasn't changed. I think Sean O'Malley's going to knock Merab out. But this is actually a very interesting fight, because I can see victory for both of them, but in a few different ways. So obviously the way I'm picking, and I think most people are picking the main event, if they're picking Sean O'Malley, is by a KO early as well. I feel like that's kind of most people's thing, but I can see Sean O'Malley getting a decision as well here. I could see Sean O'Malley kind of dropping Merab maybe in the first, doing work in the second, and then just getting more damage base as the scoring in the third, fourth, or fifth, even just one of them. And I think Sean can get this done by a decision as well. If Merab can't take Sean O'Malley down, which Merab can't take anybody down because he's fucking shit control time and he's a fucking scrub. I do not like Merab at all. In case you haven't noticed on this channel, I think he's a fucking bum. He's no control time. He's absolutely no control time. He's the only reason Merab is good is because he's a failure. He's a failure of takedowns, and that's really it, because he has no control time over anyone. Peter Yan was a prime example of that. Yan got off literally every single one of his takedowns, but Merab has just insane cardio. He's got decent striking, but some of the shit he does, I'm like, are you asking to get KO? Like I rewatched the Peter Yan fight the other day. He's shown some spinning back stuff, and I'm just thinking if you throw that against Sean, that's lights out. There's so many moments in fights. Cejudo got him with a nice left hook. He wobbled him. Marlon Moraes fucking wobbled him. I watched that fight live, nearly chinned him in the first round. Ricky Simons chinned him. You're getting hit a lot, and these guys aren't sharpshooters. Ricky Simons not a sharpshooter. Marlon Moraes has very good striking, but he's not a sharpshooter. He does have very good striking though, and he has got power for the division, but he has no gas tank. And then Cejudo, Cejudo was kind of feeling his hands there for a few years, but he's not a striker at all. Like, he's an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. Wrestling's his bread and butter. And I'm just looking at some of those moments, and I think if Sean O'Malley finds your chin, because Sean is probably the biggest sniper in the UFC at the moment, sharpshooter, I think you're going to fucking sleep, bro. I think you're going to fucking sleep. I think what gets people with Sean is not the power, it's the precision. Matched with he has good power for the weight. Insane footwork, you know what I mean? And no one's been able to really hold Sean down. Peter Yan tried, but Sean's getting up off the takedowns as well. Merab can win this fight though. If Merab is just spamming takedowns. But I think Sean has more ways to win than Merab, to be quite honest with you. Merab just shoots takedowns religiously. He's the biggest failure of takedowns in the UFC. You know, he got a record for being a failure. And I just think if he just keeps spamming takedowns and is able to keep the striking at range and set up his takedowns, even with little feints and stuff like that, low kick stuff like that, you can win this fight. Keep Sugar against the cage in the first 2 rounds even. Use a lot of your clinch control time, maybe knees up the middle, knees to the body, when you're up against the cage. Gas him a little bit. And then in the 3rd, 4th and 5th, he's not going to be as precise and he's not going to be as accurate. And that's when you can just fucking spam the takedowns. Even if he's just... I feel like you're more likely to gas someone out if you're just constantly taking them down rather than just holding them down. Because they have to get back up and then they have to go back down, up, you know what I mean? Like, look at Yan, that's what happened to him. It wasn't the control time that gassed Yan out. It was constantly getting up and stuff like that, which he did. He got up off every single one because Merab, like I said, has no control. He just shoots takedowns because he has no fucking skill. People can say I'm hating on Merab. I don't give a fuck. He's a bum. He literally held up an entire division and took out any dangerous contender for Aljamain Sterling. And then Sean O'Malley goes in there and fucking blasts his head off. So I was fucking so happy, and I hope he does it, because I'm a Sterling fan. I really like Aljamain Sterling. I don't like this fucking bum. The way he was acting, saying, no, I'll sit out and let Aljo fight for the belt. Like, what are you fucking doing? It's your career. You know what I mean? You're just sitting there sucking Aljo off and letting him do what he wants. I don't know. I'm glad that's over. Aljo's at featherweight now. Hopefully Sean O'Malley blasts his head off and sends him to PFL. Merab's can't really knock anyone out. He's rocked out Ruben Slots, I think, that Bellator can. That Pachi makes fucking bopped his head off with a knee. Yeah, I think Sean... I see someone would say Sean get this done by sub. I don't think Sean O'Malley can get this done by sub. I don't think Merab can finish Sean O'Malley. Unless it's like Sugar's completely gassed out and he gets him up against the cage and it's just swinging, and then like Mark Goddard or whoever the fuck the ref is steps in. He won't knock Sean O'Malley out with like a 1-punch clean strike or a spinning back fist, which he loves to throw. He won't do that, in my opinion. If I was to bet on this fight, I'm betting Sean or KO. But if I have some money, I'm putting it on a Merab decision as well. This bookies have this down to the wire, which they should. But you could bet on an O'Malley decision as well, and I'm not going to call you stupid. But I feel like if you're betting on either of them, a Sean KO or Merab decision is the way to go. If I was to lean, I'm leaning towards an O'Malley KO. But I think it's probably 60-40 in this fight. Like, Merab has such a good chance of winning this fight. I know I've shit on him in the past 10 minutes, but still, like, his ruthless pressure and his cardio is fucking insane. I just think Sean is a way better fighter. I think he's way more skilled than Merab. And Sean's just gone 25 minutes with Cheeto. So I'm not worried about Sean's cardio. Now, it's going to be a different level of pace, but a different level of kind of like execution. Cheeto was just standing there, getting in Sean's face, but Sean was just landing whatever he wanted. Merab's going to be constantly shooting takedowns. And Yan did that in the fight with Sean. Sean looked like he kind of gassed towards the end, so I don't know if that was because they were training for 3 rounds, now he's training for 5 rounds, but there is a little bit of like, oh, Sean could gas in this fight. I'm confident he won't, because he's just gone 25 minutes, and I trust in his training and all to be able to keep this one done. So listen, final prediction, I'm going with a sugar KO, more out of hope than anything, but let me know, are you good? What do you think of this card? I think it's fucking fucking average, below average actually. For a fucking Sphere card, for some reason made it about Mexico, but who gives a fuck about that shit? Like, we want fucking the best fights, and like, there's gonna be like a movies and shit in between each fight. Bro, who gives a fuck? Like, me at home, I don't care. I want the best fights on this card. Do you know what I mean? And we didn't get that. But anyway, sugar KO, that's what I'm going with. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.